everybody, welcome back to the AlexCloud2275 stream. Hope you're all doing well this fine day. I'm doing good. Ready and raring to bring you another fantastic episode of Final Fantasy XVI for my gaming pleasure and your viewing pleasure. I do ask that you do any likes, follows, comments, or subscribes that you may wish or want to do now or in the future. For now, however, we're just going to continue with Priceless. Going to the back of the headway and finding out what's what. Oh, I also put Invictus on. Thought we'd go with some classic weapon, default weapon for a bit.
Say what you will, Lady Karen has seen our...
Never really got to play around with it much, because I got the Flamberg almost directly afterwards, didn't I?
Oh. What brings you down from the heavens, Cid?
I need your advice. Joshua and I are looking for a place where snow daisies grow. Preferably in abundance.
Snow daisies. Then you'll want somewhere not too hot and not too cold. And where the winds are strong enough to carry the seeds. I reckon Man's Hill would be a good place to start. There in the Royal Meadows, perhaps? Both have similar climbs and the right elevation. If the Blight hasn't claimed them yet.
Right. Thank you.
Did you learn where we might find our flowers?
The gardener here mentioned the Royal Meadows in Sambrak.
Ah, the fields beyond Northreach. Well, if that's the case, then Yote was right. I recalled that she kept the record of our travels, you see. So I asked her if she'd perhaps noted anywhere that snow daisies grew, and she mentioned Oilefeist Bay.
Whose shores border the meadows. Off we go then.
The winds that blow across the Royal Meadows from Oilefeist Bay are strong indeed. Strong enough for snow daisies, it seems.
Alright. Map. Onward to Priceless in Northreach.
And how might I help the garrison today?
Oh. So if I'd done things in the reverse, I would have got it sorted.
The garrison did away with posting guards here at the wall. Now any man...
Alright, you already said that. Alright, let's go.
Those things didn't fight like men.
Arms of darkness, wings of light.
The meadows are vast. Where do we even start?
Yote mentioned the coastline. We can start there.
Alright, this might take some getting used to.
see them.
I do. The flowers and our friends. What do you see, boy? Let's hope this is the last one.
Only one way to find out.
I needed that.
Come at me, bro.
Nice try. This one. Nice try. Nice try. That was harder than I expected. But found her. It was worth it. They're beautiful.
Do you think Jill will like them?
She'll love them. Come on. Let's go.
It appears my work is done. The rest, as they say, is up to you. Well, you and the skies. We wouldn't want another thunderstorm now, would we?
Woohoo! Alright, let's go return and speak to Jill in the hideaway.
Jill, there's something I'd like to show you.
There is? And where might this something be?
It's, not here. Now, I know this is sudden, but how would you fancy a trip to Oriflamme?
There are so many. This is what you wanted to show me. I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything. The smile on your face is enough. We've been worried about you. Joshua and I. Do you remember when I took you to Man's Hill? Or tried to?
How could I forget? You saw me crying and thought a change of scenery might lift my spirits. In the end, it earned me a nasty cough and a stern scolding from your mother. But I felt wonderful nonetheless.
I'm sorry. I had no idea what I was getting us both into. But I couldn't bear to see you like that.
Before we left, my chambermaid told me she'd overheard your mother talking about my marriage prospects with some of the noblewomen at court. They were debating whether it would be more profitable to marry me off to one of the high houses instead of saving me for the ducal line. No one thought to ask me what I wanted. I was nothing to them. A pawn at best. I felt so trapped, so lonely.
I didn't know.
But I wasn't alone. You were there. Your hand in mine as we ran for those oaks. And I knew then, no matter what happened, I would be all right. I'll never forget that feeling. Before we broke camp, the morning after the storm, do you know what I did?
No? What?
I slipped away from my governess to climb the tor. And from there I saw a sea of petals, all reaching for the sun. And I realized that no matter how terrible the night, dawn would always come. That you would always come for me. And you have. Again and again.
Where do you see us? When all this is over?
I don't know. Not here, though. I think I've outgrown the twins. After everything we've been through, the realm just seems so small. I'll need some space to spread my wings.
Then that's what you'll have. And I'll stop at nothing to see that you do.
I never was much good at garlands, but it'll have to do.
I'll treasure it forever.
Thank you, Clive. For this, the flowers, for everything. It's exactly what I needed. You Oh, my treasure. We should probably be getting back. I expect the others are wondering where we are.
You're right. There's still much to do.
And we'll do it together.
Quest complete. Priceless. Shiva's Kiss reduces Diamond Dust cooldown by 7.5 seconds. Song of Winter Autumn Gone from Frosted Blips Oblivion. Northern Nursery Rhyme. And then a Snow Daisy Garland, a fragrant dedium hand-woven by Jill from the flowers picked on the shores of the Orlefrest Bay. I never was too much good at gardens, but it'll have to do. Joining hands will Jill. Jill has joined Clive's party and will remain for him until departing for Origin. Okay. Echoes of the Fallen questline is now available if we speak to Sharon at a stall in the Hideaway. And Rising Tide is now available and inspecting the reading table at Clive's Hideaway. Cool. Alright, sweet. We got the DLC, guys. We've got the DLC. Alright. About Nektar's adventures. Nektar.
You're not from the forest. Well, which forest? Then what were you going to tell me? And if you had?
Alright, that's all those hunts done.
How may I help you today, Clive?
Alright. New song, Tales of the Forbidden Seas and the Fallen Engine. In the several thousand years since the fall came crashing down, most of the objects that came crashing down with it have either been hoarded or destroyed. Those few that have not have occasionally found to erosion or excavation chances to unearth them, and while their purpose is unknown, they're highly sought after by scholars bent on unlocking the secrets. Every epic starts with a single word, every symphony a single note. This is but the beginning, and I foreshall your legend be told, for shall your legacy be sung. Unsigned.
All yours.
Forever.
All done?
Cool.
Twinside's hundreds of leagues away.
I read Gav's report on Stonehair. Only wish I could have been there to see the Mother Crystal fall.
It's just a shame it wasn't the last. Assuming that thing looming over the mountains is a Mother Crystal.
What a word. Off you go then.
Let's have a wander in tomes. Actually, what you got to say, Byron?
Clive, my boy.
About the Trinity Accord.
Do you know why?
I chose to call it the True Unity Accord, Clive. You may be too young to remember, but this isn't the first time an alliance has been struck twixt the nations of Storm.
'Twas not 20 summers past.
That your father petitioned both the Empire and the Republic to join hands with the Duchy, where we might work to the mutual adventures in the defiance of the Blight. And they, for their part, embraced the notion, so we all believed. Little did we know that the peace that Elwyn worked so hard to secure would be ground beneath the heel of the one we least
Your
expected.
mother, the Duchess.
In one fell swoop, Arabella robbed us of everything: a nation, a leisure, a brother, a father.
But above all,
she robbed us of what could have been, a realm undivided, Elwyn's grand design.
and so you see,
Why I chose to call our new alliance the True Unity? For with it we aim to preserve not only peace, but the lasting legacy of cooperation.
well, don't do anything I wouldn't.
Good morrow to you, my friend.
Ask about origin.
Ah, yes.
You have arrived at a solution, then. Dion will carry us.
Indeed.
A feat befitting the final act. I congratulate myself that I've lived long enough to see it, a feat inside itself for a man of my years. But to be serious, it's no small thing to march against fate, Clive. You must be certain of your footing, lest the winds of destiny divert you from your course. Are you certain of your footing, Clive?
I am. Then go.
And do what you must. Ask about Dion.
I well recall.
I will recall the time I spent at the Imperial Palace instructing the young prince on the history of our realm. He was quite unlike the other noble-born children I taught, not only for the keenness to which he listened, but for the earnestness of his convictions.
He truly believed.
It was the Empire's duty to serve the people, and was determined to study the past that he might not repeat its mistakes, which is the reason why what befell Twinside weighs so heavily on his soul. He must live with the consequences, and I fear that I'll take more than merely time to heal
It will
such
take
wounds.
forgiveness.
Not only from you only, but nor his countrymen, nor even his late father, no.
From himself.
Only then might his flower bloom again.
I have a few new notes that might interest you. I have quite the find for you today.
Whew. He does have a find for me. Riveria, an impossibly tall tower in central Ast that seems to pierce their very heavens. It was built by Ultima when he first arrived at Valisthea. From its heights, he examined the flow of aether through the land and thereby determined the optimum placement for the mother crystals. The Sins of Desmex, an incident in which the Fallen launched an assault on the mother crystal Desmex to claim its power, and in doing so stoked the ire of Ultima itself. In response, the self-proclaimed god destroyed the crystal, leaving behind both a great yawning crater and a cautionary legend that has since spread through Valisthea. Alright, dominant. To those within who sleep in the power of Menachion, the dominants are but a stepping stone in the creation of Ultima's perfect vessel, Mythos. When Ultima sowed the seeds of humanity, he embedded those assigned to protect each mother crystal with an elemental affinity, a power that would amplify over the generations until the Echions eventually emerged. Though the memory of their power remains even after it's absorbed into Mythos, it takes an increasing toll upon the person to summon it. The Fallen are an ancient civilization that thrived for some thousand years before the present day, though no direct record of the Fallen remain. Early legends in the modern corpus speaking of the men of Magitech, the principals whose magical technology was the airship, enormous cities that soared through the skies. Comparison to the ruins of these airships and other ancient structures connected to Ultima's reveals slightly but marked difference, suggests that the former is but a copy of the latter. Alas, it seems in their pursuit of Ultima's most guided secrets led to their downfall when they were sent their fleet against Dasmex to usher the fall, ushering the tragedy that saw their civilization fall. Ultima's civilization. The ancient civilization of the godlike Ultima Collective. Their discovery of magic helped them thrive, but came at a terrible cost. The onset of the Blight, after their cities fell and their people perished. A few survivors fled to the untouched land of Valisthea to lay the groundwork for their future revival. The apothecary beneath Phoenix Gates and the Tower of the Revere in Waloed are both relics of their civilization and far predate those of the Fallen. The Arid Stone is a mysterious ceramic tablet that stands in the hideaway, though it closely resembles the relic of the Fallen. The way in which it reacts to Clive's presence and urges him to unlock his hidden potential suggests the connection to Ultima. It is likely that this stone, as well as the others, towers of similar constructions that dot the landscape, were created by the creature before he entered his slumber in order to aid in the perfection of his vessel, Mythos. Obelisks, ancient technology of the Ultima Collective, set in place on their advent to Valisthea in order to guide the flow of ether towards the mother crystals, that the land's life force may be harvested all the more readily. The obelisks are separate entities to the mother crystals themselves, so the latter's destruction does not affect the former's function. After Ultima cast Primogenesis, the resulting imbalance in ether made these obelisks grow all the brighter. The Children of Desmex. The tribe who once dwelled in the land surrounding the lost mother crystal of Desmex. This mother crystal communicated directly with Origin, from where Ultima kept watch on the world from his slumber, and so those who lived around it had a closer relationship with their creator than most. It was they who founded the Circle of Malice to keep the word of their lord and their future savior alive. After the tragedy of Desmix and the first fall of humanity, the few surviving children of Desmix fled to the outer continent, where they continued to worship the god and awaited the day that they could join him in paradise. This savior myth, that's a lot. Among the teaching of the Circle of Mazis is the story that Lord Almighty delivered unto his children a prophecy that the future salvation before hiding himself away in the heavens. A myth that lived on in many of the folk religions that would later supplant it, though considered to be not a legend, it is possible that it reflects a real historical event. Ultima's final words to his humanity before he entered hibernation deep beneath Valisthea. The few remaining sources of disgrace on Ultima's precise wording would put on 4 points that they all align. That on some future day of reckoning, the incarnation of the Lord would appear among mankind and remake the world. That the advent of his incarnation would be heralded by the emergence of several heavenly servants of great might. That the Lord's faithful should rally these servants together in order to bring the incarnation into being, and that their loyalty would be rewarded with the greatest gladness. Ultima's thralls, soulless autonomous latitude composed of ether, whose only motivation is to seek that the Creator's will be done. Ultima gave them life upon first arriving in Valisthea, and immediately tasked them with defending the realm's shores from any outsiding forces that might seek to interfere with his endeavour. The deity now solely employs them solely to test the strength and durability of his self-proclaimed vessel, Mythos. And the Journal of Moss, the Annals of Moss the Chronicler, a scholar of Asterian history, who unearthed many of the buried secrets of Ultima and the Circle of Malice shortly after he encountered a young Hippocrates in the outer continent and inspired the boy's own pursuit of learning. Moss returned to the Twins, where his long years of wandering from ruin to relic in pursuit of the vestiges of Valisthea's past finally drew to a close.
If you have a question for me, I should be happy to answer it.
It seems to have fully completed on all that now too. Yep, Max, Sage for the Ages. Gav, a hidden past. Gav's faithful scout, and now one of his closest friends, and most trusted ally, is born to the youngest son of a large family. He always longed to be a big brother. However, just as his mother was ready to give birth to the sister that he had patiently awaited, his entire family was slain in an imperial raid on his village. Now he has a new family in members of the Hideaway, and swears to protect them, whereas younger self could not. Dominant Shiva and trusted confidant of Clive, leader of the new Hideaway, born a princess of the Northern Territories, Jill was made a ward of Rosaria after her father's. The Silvermane incessant raids were quelled by the duchy. She entrusted her Econ to Clive after he was bested by King Barnabas, that he might have the strength to fight their fate to the last. Torgal, hidden past. His faithful friend after the two were separated in the tragedy of Phoenix Gate. Torgal continued to search for his missing master, sniffing out anything that bore Clive's scent and carrying it home to their secret island hideaway. It was during one of these forays on the mainland that he encountered Cid, who took the lonely Torgal home, fashioned him an anklet for the lovelorn pup, which he treasures to this day. Dion Lesage, a renewed resolve. Dominant of Bahamut, Warden of Light, before he joined the Dragoons, Dion spent his youth studying that he would assist his father in ruling the Empire. On the return of Clive and Joshua to the Hideaway, he is reunited with his old tutor, Hippocrates, who inspires him in a renewed determination to bring Ultima's evil to an end. His evil, it must end. Midadol Telamon, adoptive daughter of Cid, who saved her from the streets as a girl and raised her as his own. He did. The young Mid followed in her father's footsteps in perfecting his designs for the mithril engine, though she fears the complete engine might be used for ill if the designs were to fall into the wrong hands. The dream of flight that she and her father shared is too great to see consigned to the dustbin of history, and so she continues to labor day after day that one day the dream might become reality. Doris, captain of the Cursebreakers, who directs their bearer liberating operations. She learns that Chadwick, a fellow bearer and brother-in-arms who helped her escape her former master, met his untimely end in the curse of the depths between the Balrog Dark. He died the same hero he was in life, having fought until the bitter end to save the life of a young bearer girl. Doris swears to keep fighting herself that his legacy might live on. Hippocrates II, Hyperboreus, the Hideaway's resident historian. Before meeting Sid and moving in with his band of outlaws, Hippocrates dwelled in a much grander surroundings, the Imperial Palace, where he would serve as tutor to Prince Dion. He bears a deep and lingering affection for his former charge, and that on reuniting with Dion in the Hideaway, presented him with the gifts of a wild wyvern tail, that he might be reminded of the goodness within him, and not punish himself unduly. Vivian, a scholar and strategist who makes her home in the Hideaway, offering her insight to Clive that he might better understand the lay of the land. Once a professor from the University of Canberra, her dogged pursuit of the truth earned her the enmity of some of her less scrupulous colleagues. After learning of a plot on her life, she fled to the Hideaway and has been slowly but surely warming to the new surroundings. Okay. Ember is a curse bearer in training who wished to make himself a scout. They might follow in the footsteps of his idol Gav, though his test did not proceed entirely smoothly. He showed enough promise to warrant being accepted into the ranks for now. Quentin, founding member of the Tri-Unity, inscrutable landlord of Lost Wing Tavern. After the village was swallowed up by the Ether flooding, the survivors of Lost Wing's family laboured to build a new village on Gotland's Bales. However, Clive convinced him to join his uncle's Tri-Unity and put his oratorial skills to use, not merely in leading Lost Wing, but in restoring order to the entire realm. Labor, forge masters of the Briar's Kiss and the finest smithy in Dalamil, and now mayor of the town. After his bearhood was revealed, he was almost driven from Dalamil by the disapproving townspeople. However, they were convinced to change their preconceptions after Labor led the defense of the town from a horde of Akashic bandits, and with the support of both the town guard and the Merchants Guild, he won the mayoralty. Isabella, in past, proprietress of the Vale, Northreach's foremost house to ill repute. Before coming to Northreach, she was Carla, courtesan of nobility in the Crystalline Dominion. However, she was forced to flee when she fell in love with the bearer. The Vale took them in, and though her love was not to survive, her gratitude for the people of Northreach lives on to this day. Cyril, following the tragedy of Middleburg, the senior member of the Undying, known as the Bearer of the Burning Quill, he and his order devoted their lives to the service of the Phoenix and do not fear death, so as long as it comes from the course of their duties. Though Clive takes exception to what would appear at first glance a pointless waste of human life, the two come to see each other eye to eye, Cyril expressing a deep gratitude for the regard Clive shows to his fallen comrades. First and foremost, of the 5 cardinals who make up the Council of Elders, second only to the Holy Emperor of the Imperial Government, after the fall of the Crystalline Dominion and the collapse of said government, His Eminence appeared in Northreach, planning to turn the town into a new capital for a new Sambrek. However, when the people rallied behind Isabel instead, he realized that he must work within the common folk, not lord over them. Elwyn, a hidden past, the late Archduke of the Grand Duchy of Rosaria and Father Cloud and Joshua. During his rave, he strove to bring an end to the mistreatment of bearers and his people's reliance on magic. On a mission he knew would meet fierce opposition from the court nobility and would not be achievable within his lifetime. That his sons would follow in his footsteps, he fashioned for them a pair of matching armbands to give them the strength when all stood against them. Sabine, the only daughter of the Duke of Oriflamme, who fomented a revolt against her father's plans to fortify Northreach at the townspeople's expense. After the Duke convinced of the error of his ways, the two are reconciled and pledged to work together with the people of Northreach to build a town for all her citizens. And Byron, the younger brother of the Archduke Elwyn and Warden of the Port Isidore, together with the Field Marshal Eugene Havel and Master Quinton of Lostwink, he founded the Triunity, and a code that sets out how the noble armies and common folk of Valisthea shall come together to see the crisis of the blight, the realm, want for food, water, security, and shelter, and ended and order restored. Eugene Havel is the former Field Marshal of the Dalmatian Republic. At the insistence of his old friend and rival Byron Rossfield, he was convinced to return to the front lines in the defense of the realm, using his old military connections to bring the disparate armies of Asteria back under control. Cool. The Cursebreakers, joining the ranks. A unit drawn from the fighting age and martial training amongst the residents of the Hideaway, who conduct operations to liberate bearers from slavery. Beginning in Sid's Hideaway, the Order was greatly expanded both in its ranks and its operations since the move to Ben-Amir. While Otto manages their activities day-to-day, operations are led by Doris and Cole. Potential new recruits must undergo rigorous training and pass an induction test before joining the Cursebreakers ranks. Northreach. Okay. Town which once acted as the defense gateway for the Sandbrook holy capital of Oriflamme. Not long after the skies took a turn and the Animus, most of the old capital was lost to an aether flood. The Imperial High Cardinal arrived with designs to build a new empire, but at great cost to the citizens of Northreach. At this time, Ultima's thralls descended onto the fields both north and south of the Great Wall, forcing the citizens to choose between abandoning their town or fighting and possibly dying for those that they loved. The people chose the latter, and after a hard-earned victory, the High Cardinal was finally convinced to join hands with Madame Isabel, and a modicum of order that was at long last restored. Would be nice if I knew how to read things. The Damanel Hill under new leadership. A little oasis, Damanel offers goods, food, and respite for those travelers who make the long march through the western Dalmatic's sweltering Vilcroy deserts. Since the fall of Drake's Fang, however, what was once a constant flow of visitors has dried up to all but a trickle, leaving the town in dire straits and tensions among the citizenry high. When faced with a horde of Akashic bandits beating at their gates, Labor, renowned blacksmith, convinced the town guard and the League of Merchants to put aside their differences and join hands and fight for the people's survival. For this accomplished, he earned not only the respect of his peers, but with the position of mayor, despite being a bearer. Kretina is a humble settlement situated in the far north edge of Dalmatic Velcroy Desert. Though long abandoned by its original residents, the so-called League of Outlaws has taken up residence here for a time, but the sudden arrival of Aetherflood rendered the bandits Akashic, all but sealing the village's fate. The Balmug Dark is a colossal prison located in the immediate north of the Ravenwit Walls in the Kingdom of Waloed. Bearers sent here become unfortunate subjects of an ambitious military endeavor designed to train untrainable beasts of war. While the kingdom fell and the wardens lost their wills to the Aether, those bearers were left in their cells to starve, which most did. The Bad Batch Conservatory, a dilapidated orphanage for bearers that sits upon the hill overlooking the verdant plains of Vadegraves in Waloed. The children who lived there were not cared for, but rather experimented on, enduring harrowing tortures designed to turn them into fearless, mindless weapons, an education that few were to survive. Mecklenburg is a settlement situated in the south of Waloed. After being abandoned by its former residents, it became something of a gathering place for followers of the Savior cult, recently arisen on Ash, leading to the Undying to dispatch an investigation mission there. Ooh. Still going through if you don't mind. Garnick is an idyllic mountain village in the Kingdom of Waloed, or at least was. What remains of it here, an old acquaintance of Hippocrates made his home, quietly amassing a vast collection of rare tomes before Ultima and Barnabas' machinations rendered the realm Akashic and stripped him of his very will. This Savior cult is a religion that arose in the recent years in Ash, and which has its basis in the Circle of Malleus. ancient faith whose followers worship Ultima as a god. It was popularized by the King Barnabas Thalma of Walwood, who spread its prayers and rituals among his people. Believers see becoming Akashic as a means of achieving purity and of being freed from the torments of the mortal realm. And the Tridium. The alliance formed by Lord Byron Rosfield of the Seven High Houses in the comfort of his well-appointed mansion on Port Isidore, according to the agreement reached between those he summons to his aid. Lord Rosfield would take charge of supplies, Field Marshal Eugene military affairs, and Quinton of Lostling would handle political affairs. With these key angles covered, they hoped to lead Valisthea forward on a path of unity, given their home country of Rosaria, Dominica, and Sandbrook, respectively. The name of the famed treaty of old, but all but suggested itself. Mysteries of the Realm. Airship. Legend has it that the people of the Fallen once sailed through the skies in the bellies of these ships, though all lie shattered and silent on the surface below, invincible of which Clive and his allies have built their new hideaway, being one such relic. So advanced is the Fallen technology that it was nigh indistinguishable from magic, leading a historian of the early modern era to remember them as men of magic, or men of magical technologies. It's midstream to bring this technology back to life, but humanity might take flight once more. The Deluge of Blood is a great war that occurred in ancient times between the few who bear the blessing and the many who do not. It ended in a decisive victory for the unblessed masses and the signing of the Continental Accords, which cemented the systematic subjugation of bearers as a minority. It was not until 100 years later that the first Echions were to emerge, their human hosts being named Dominants, after the saviour myth of the Circle of Malleus, which held that their Lord's return would be heralded by the appearance of his heavenly servants, most wondrous and most dominant. Such was the awesome power of these creatures that the authorities had no option but to exempt them from the system of slavery, announcing them to be something other than lowly bearers and deserving of the highest honour, lest they should side with their fellow oppressed and bring the second deluge upon the masters' heads. Wyvern Tail. Elegant white flower that is the symbol of the Holy Empire of Sandbrook. From its roots is distilled the dye for which the bearer's brand is inscribed. The dye is highly poisonous when it enters the bloodstream, and so it's not uncommon for bearers to lose their lives either on receiving their brand or during an inexpert attempt to remove it. While the cultivation of wyvern's tails bears white blossoms, those that grow in the wild adopt a purple hue. The Executors, a shadowy cabal who control the truth of the realm by collecting and concealing any knowledge that's believed to should remain hidden. They believe that they view themselves as the guardians of humanity, protecting people from what would only cause them pain. From a distance, the shameful history of enslavement of bearers is one of the books the executors would see to expunge from the public record. And from a distance is a tomb that lays bare, buried with the truth of avarice and vanity of mankind. Upon its publication, the powers that be did everything in their power to inherit once more along with its author. It tells the story of bearers, those once worshipped and adored as bearers of their heavenly blessing, earned them the moniker they hold to this day. However, they became despised, oppressed, and enslaved by the unblessed masses. The shadowy executor sees any copy that surfaces in order to protect humanity from the painful knowledge contained within its pages, or so they claim. Alright.
You are always welcome, Clive.
Woo-hoo.
So what do I owe the honour? What do you want?
Okay. The Clare have assembled the Envelope and the Undying headquarters in Talbot. Undying are the secret society that serve However Rustfield, or probably more, particularly the dominant Phoenix that are born into the Rustfield light, such as their acolytes' faith in the Phoenix, that they would gladly surrender their lives should it be for the benefit of their master. The Snowy Daisy Garland, a fragrant idiom hand-woven by Jill from the flowers picked on the shore of the Alfest Bay. The garland rekindles memories of a more innocent time and speaks of a love that cannot fade. The Trinity Accord, signed in Port Osdo by the representations of Rosaria, Dalmekik and Sandbreck, a mutual accord set for the stage of a new age, in storm, if not officially, then at least in spirit. And then the Stolas Quill, Lawsman Hippocrates' best-loved writing implement, those inks penned many a learned tome. It is said that the long quill of a Stolas become imbued with the wishes it hears over its long lifetime, the words just waiting to pour out onto the page. So should the day come that Clive puts his sword down and picks up a pen, he shall not find his one and only insurmountable enemy in writer's block. Whew. Treasure hunt. What? You didn't think I was just saying that stuff about hiding my engine, did you? Wouldn't you know? I've already fine spot picked out and everything. But if you're gonna go on this grand adventure, you'll need to be quick about your business with that ruddy god of yours. Take too long and somebody more clever might beat you to the prize. I suppose in that case I could only bury one of my lesser inventions. Goddess knows I've got countless. Mid. A note of thanks. Lord Mercris, I write to thank you for the kind consideration you have shown those whose names are written within the pages of the Book of Martyrs. I know that it would move me deeply to know that the first shields of the Phoenix laments their passing, though each and every member of our order stands ready to sacrifice their lives in service of the Phoenix. I do not doubt that those who are taken before their time, with regret for the long years of duty left undone, they should live on in the memory of the proud son of Rustfield, such as yourself, who surely go some way to soothing their sorrows. May the Phoenix flame burn with it forever in your heart. Before we depart, Ifrit, you have my sincerest gratitude for reuniting me with Master Hippocrates, that I might embark upon this most important journey, my heart free of regret, though it is in these few moons that I have come to realize that the longer I spend in the company of your brothers, the deeper I find myself in your debt. We must swiftly see to the menace that is Ultima, if not save the world, to save me from an eternity of recompense. Dion. Safe returns! Thank you, Clive, for indulging the whims of this doddering old soul. I am ashamed that for too many years I allowed stubbornness of fear to keep me from something so simple as letting a friend know how proud I was of him. Your intervention has lifted a heavy paw from my heart. Perhaps your triumphant return from the skies, you might be inclined to set a page to the set a quill to the inclined to set to page that quill I gifted you. There are many of us who would hear but a first-hand account of your time with the Holy Prince, myself included. Hippocrates. The Triunity. Boy, bringing together three men from different backgrounds was not to be without some difficulty. However, to come together we did for a better Valisthea. The Triunity was the first step. A longer, more bitter journey awaits us. The one that is almost certain to end in hardship. Yet matters most is not the destination, but what you can learn from one another. While on the road there, you have paved the road for us with your courage, Clive. Now we must have the courage to walk it. Your loving uncle. The greatest gift. Feels like a lifetime ago. It was a lifetime ago. The afternoon on Man Hill on our very first adventure. But somehow I knew even then that it would not be our last. I will never forget that day. And the simple fact is that you have not either fills my heart with joy, so fierce I cannot describe it. Since the moment we first met, we have always been an important part of me, the half that makes me whole. When times are darkest, you are my light. When I am lost, you are my guiding star. You are just what I need. You are all that I need. You are the greatest gift, Jill. Lovely. Alright, well guys, I guess I'm going to end the stream here. I don't know whether I'm going to do Back to Origin yet or not, or if I'm going to do the side quests. I'm going to have to see which comes first. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in the future.